The galactic apex hunt had never chosen a backwater like Earth before. For centuries, the tournament had roamed across the stars, dropping elite warriors into the most dangerous environments the galaxy could offer. Acid seas of Gavarn, the collapsing storm cities of Ritherus, the living maze world of Silketh. But this year the Huntmasters wanted novelty, and nothing screamed novelty like a mudball filled with bipeds who still used combustion engines and fired hunks of metal instead of plasma. In the war room aboard the Carathian flagship, Claw of Glory, 6 alien hunters lounged as the hologram of Earth rotated lazily before them. Their leader, Commander Voral, a towering biped with obsidian skin plates and golden visor eyes, smirked. Primitive gravity well, carbon-based vermin, no orbital defense, 1 star, 1 moon, laughable. They all laughed. Even the newest among them, a lean predator from the frozen moons of Seltzer, let out a snort. The Hunt AI chimed. Target zone, Earth, Northern Hemisphere. Mountainous terrain. Resistance probability. Low. Tactical interest. Psychological. Impact. They were being sent to test their mettle and make an example of what happened to species that dared think they mattered. The dropship cut through Earth's atmosphere like a claw through skin, landing silently in the Rockies under the cover of night. 6 hunters disembarked, cloaked in energy-absorbing camouflage, blades humming faintly at their hips, rifles mounted magnetically to their backs. Every step was calculated. They moved as gods might among animals. Nearby, hidden among the snow-covered cliffs and dense pines, was a U.S. Special Forces forward base. Alpha Unit. 10 men. Deep recon, mountain training, off-grid, unaware of the arrival. Human tech buzzed low and constant, radio crackle, drone scans, heartbeat monitors. The command tent's satellite feed fuzzed for a moment, dismissed as solar interference. Inside, Sergeant Mason muttered into his headset. Thermal scan just blinked out. Sector Delta 3. Could be a bear. Or another glitch. He glanced over at the quiet figure sitting in the far corner of the tent, legs crossed, hands resting loosely on his lap. No one spoke to the sniper unless they had to. He had no name in the system, just a call sign. Whisper. He didn't bunk with the rest, didn't eat with them. Some said he was ex-CIA. Others said he'd killed a general in a bar fight in Kandahar and was offered a deal to keep him useful. Whatever the truth, Whisper had spent more time lying still, in the dirt with a scope than most of them had spent breathing. Outside, the hunters moved like phantoms, slipping through motion sensors, avoiding mines. One of them chuckled, watching the base through heat vision eyes. Metal slugs and optics, how quaint. Another tapped the side of his helmet. They still use night vision. Are we hunting soldiers or scavengers? Commander Voral raised a fist. The team halted on a ridgeline above the base, eyes scanning the terrain. We'll make it clean, he said. No survivors. We upload the kills, and the galactic circuit knows our names before the suns rise on their dirt ball. One of the rookies, cocky and lean, leaned forward. What's a sniper anyway? They keep saying that word in intercepted chatter. Voral shrugged. Probably their term for last to die. But unseen, high above them, nested deep in a crag so narrow only a man trained to become the landscape could wedge in, the sniper adjusted his windage dial. Through his scope, 6 thermal shapes glowed like coals in the frost. They weren't human. Movement patterns were off. Weight displacement was wrong. One even seemed to hover slightly. Not drones, not Black Ops, something else. He adjusted again. Exhaled. His heart rate was 50 beats per minute and falling. He had no orders. Didn't need any. He chambered around. The crosshairs landed gently on the alien with the loudest laugh. Inhale, hold, exhale, squeeze. The mountain didn't echo the shot, not because of tech, but because the shot knew better than to announce itself. Down below, one of the hunters jerked mid-stride, a fist-sized hole appearing in the center of his chest. His armor flickered. He dropped without a sound. No explosion. No alarm, just gone. The other hunters froze. Voral spun. Report. Silence. Then a low human whisper echoed over a hacked comm. "That's a sniper." High above, the sniper chambered his next round and smirked. The ridge was quiet. Too quiet for comfort. 3 alien hunters moved in a loose triangle, their scanning gear sweeping arcs across the snow-dusted rocks. Their helmets painted heat, signatures in vibrant color, but the field ahead was an endless void of cold blue and lifeless stone. It wasn't right. Something should have shown by now. Even prey this primitive had body heat. Thermals still null, one of them muttered, claws tapping across his rifle's sensor pad. No biosigns, nothing living out here but ice. The lead tilted his head, visor narrowing. Then what dropped Zarin? No one answered. From a ridge over 2 kilometers away, the sniper lay flat against the ground, snow packed over his back, netting blending his silhouette into the frostbitten rock. His breath was invisible, temperature regulated by the suit he'd stitched himself after a year in the Hindu Kush. The rifle cradled in his arms was matte black, no electronics, no signals, just hand-machined steel and tuned glass. He'd tracked the 3 aliens for 20 minutes, predicting their pattern. When the one on the right broke formation to check a thermal blind spot, he clicked his scope's reticle 2 notches left. Wind, low, humidity, negligible, target movement, predictable, distance, 2,074 meters, correction, 0.4 mils for elevation, heartbeat, 43 BPM. He didn't feel satisfaction when he pulled the trigger. There was no adrenaline, no emotion, just motion, response, stillness. The rifle coughed, a sharp, contained crack. The bullet was subsonic, heavy, armor-piercing tungsten with a custom sabot core. Downrange, the alien's head snapped sideways as the round pierced his helm and lanced out the opposite side. His body shuddered, convulsed once, then collapsed. Backward into a snowbank, the others dropped to a crouch immediately, weapons raised. "Contact!" barked the leader. "Source unknown. Return fire." But there was no flash to trace. No muzzle report. No heat. One of them fired blindly into the ridgeline where the shot might have come from. Plasma bolts hissed through the air and melted, through stone and ice. A raven burst from a tree, cawing once before vanishing into the trees. Nothing else moved. The sniper was already gone, crawling back along a slit trench he'd carved into the mountain the night before. He moved like a shadow, sinking into deeper darkness, rifle strapped across his chest, head low. He had 3 fallback positions, all pre-marked. No footprints, no scent trail, and no emissions. The only thing he left behind was the body. The alien squad frantically tried to triangulate. No signature, no EM spike, not even chemical discharge, hissed one. "Impossible," the commander growled. "There has to be something." 2 kilometers away, Whisper nestled into a second firing hole, this one camouflaged with real branches and animal scat. He steadied his rifle again. He remembered what the instructor had drilled into him back at the academy, the place where all the ghosts came from. You are a mirror to the world around you. Match the wind. Breathe like the trees. Your shot begins in your heartbeat, not the barrel. The aliens began moving again, cautiously this time, in tighter formation. He waited. One jumped across, a rock outcrop exposed for exactly 0.7 seconds. The rifle cracked. The alien spiraled mid-air, torso twisting unnaturally. He hit the ground and didn't get up. The commander screamed, "Second down, regroup, regroup!" They scattered, ducking. Behind rocks, arming personal shields, the commander called for recon. 4 spherical drones lifted into the air, hovering upward to scan in wide-spectrum 360-degree bursts. The sniper adjusted elevation and fired again. One drone blinked, jerked, and exploded mid-hover. Then another, and another. The last hovered a moment longer, then sparked and dropped like a stone. "Drones are down," shouted the technician, disbelief leaking through his translator. "He's hitting them, out of the sky." The alien commander cursed in a language that sounded like steel grinding underwater. How? How is this possible? They use bullets." The tech retrieved one of the recovered rounds from a dead hunter's armor and held it under a scanner. The round had punched clean through 2 layers of energy mesh and stopped just short of the spine. It's hand-loaded. the tech muttered, rotating it. Metal jacket, tungsten core, copper sabot. No smart guidance. No tracking gel. It shouldn't be able to penetrate plasma weave. Another voice, calmer, colder, said. It didn't just penetrate. The round pinged once as it struck the metal table. It threaded his heart. The commander said nothing for a long moment. His gaze drifted to the skyline. Somewhere out there, this human wasn't running. He wasn't hiding. He was waiting, and now they were the ones being hunted. The snowfall thickened as the hours dragged on, turning the mountain into a pale, howling cathedral of wind and silence. The storm had rolled in quickly, no warning. Visibility dropped to 10 meters. Signals distorted, GPS refused to lock. The Earth, indifferent and brutal, cloaked itself in chaos. Alien tech was advanced. But it wasn't made for this. Not for a world where the wind screamed and the ground moved underfoot. Not for a man who knew this place like it was part of his blood. Most of Alpha Unit was gone, killed in the first 30 minutes or scattered into the storm. Radios had gone dark. There was no backup coming. But the sniper didn't need backup. The alien hunters were now 5. They moved in uneven intervals, formation broken, weapons hot, scanning constantly. Their helmets glitched occasionally from the static interference. A few of them had set their visors to infrared, but the cold played hell with heat signals, especially when the sniper made himself colder than the stone around him. One of them cursed and turned suddenly, firing into what he thought was a figure. The bolt hit rock, scattering shards and steam. Echoes played games with them. Their own footsteps bounced off the cliffs, multiplied. What once felt like confidence was becoming claustrophobia, and then came the ping, a metallic sound, small but sharp, bouncing once, twice, then fading. A casing from a fired round intentionally dropped from a higher ledge, now tumbling down into their path. The aliens spun. Nothing. No heat source. No visual. Behind them, a radio crackled. You shouldn't have come here. The voice was synthesized, an imitation of one of their own, glitched, slightly distorted, yet unmistakably from their comm band. It repeated, louder. You shouldn't have come here. Then a shot rang out, ricocheted off a rock just behind the technician's head. It didn't hit, it wasn't meant to, but it sent him flailing backwards into the snow, screaming. Was it him? One shouted. Did he mimic comms? No, it was you. You're bleeding data from your channel. He could have hijacked you. I locked my feed. They shoved each other, weapons raised. The commander barked, Enough. He's baiting you. He's not omniscient. He's just a sniper. But his voice cracked when he said it. The sniper watched them through a scope a kilometer out, the reticle steady on the biggest one's center mass. He didn't fire, not yet. Instead, he triggered a pressure plate 30 meters behind them. Boom. Snow and soil erupted skyward. One alien flew forward, armor splintered, landing in pieces. The rest ducked and ran, taking different paths. Bad move. He'd studied the terrain for weeks before the hunt. Knew the wind tunnels. The echo chambers where whispers could sound like screams. The drop-offs hidden by fresh snow. The narrow choke points. He shifted position again, crawling through a frozen ravine, quiet as breath. Set another distraction. An old flare rigged to a radio beacon. A flash lit up a ridgeline. One alien panicked and fired into it, finding only a thermal dummy sewn from scavenged gear and heated by hand-warmed stones. Then came the real shot, through the ribcage. Clean, decisive, another down. 3 remained. The commander gathered them under a ledge, wind howling through the canyon like a grieving god. We can't kill it like this, one muttered, voice trembling. It's not human, not anymore. The commander didn't argue. He stared out at the storm, visor dim. It's not just a man, it's a weapon that thinks, that waits. He looked over his shoulder. None of you say its name. It doesn't deserve reverence. It's a thing born in snow and iron. They tried to sleep in shifts, but the wind made every whisper sound like footsteps. The technician swore he heard breathing once, just outside his helm. Another hunter emptied his clip into a shadow that vanished the moment the bolt flew. Paranoia bloomed like mold. The commander finally snapped. "I will end this." He stomped away from the others toward the ridge where the last shot had come from, activating full combat mode. Twin blades drawn, HUD spiking adrenaline into his bloodstream. He saw movement ahead, a figure, crouched, breathing heavily, scope visible. He lunged with a roar, blades whirring, cutting down through the chest only to find fabric. Steel rods, a mannequin rig. "Decoy," he roared, and in the same breath a thunderous crack split the air. He collapsed, half his shoulder gone, his armor barely held. He crawled, one arm dragging. Above him, the sniper stood, silent, rifle still warm, but he didn't shoot again. Vanished into the storm like a phantom, leaving only his voice behind. "You were never the hunter." Back at the base of the cliff, the last two aliens listened through the commander's mic feed as static gave way to silence. Then came a whisper. Calm, low, almost instructional. "You're finally learning." Snow spiraled downward like ash covering the fresh wreckage in a silent shroud. Only two remained. The alien commander dragged the injured hunter across the ridgeline, boots crunching through frost and cracked rock. The injured one, bleeding from a torn shoulder and a shattered leg, whimpered with each jolt. The commander's breath steamed in the cold, though his kind wasn't supposed to breathe at all in thin air. But something about this world, the bite of the atmosphere, the hostility of silence, it broke things down. Their extraction craft was less than a kilometer out, camouflaged beneath a cloaking field in a snow-swept clearing. "If we reach it," the commander rasped, "we can erase this failure, glass the valley. No trace, no record." They didn't. See the glint on the ridge above, a click, a breath. The sniper watched them through his scope, perched between two frost-caked boulders. Heart rate steady, wind minimal, fusion core lined up. Trigger pull. 2.1 pounds of pressure. The shot lanced downward in silence, the muzzle flash swallowed by the storm. Down below, the extraction ship's side exploded in a plume of fire and plasma, the fusion coil rupturing, in a cascade of flame. The cloaking field failed in an instant, revealing the skeletal frame of the vessel, now grounded, its escape capabilities gone. The commander threw his comrade down and looked up at the smoking wreck. "No," he muttered. "No, no." Then a sound echoed from nearby, a voice, familiar, impossible. "You left me to die, brother." It was the voice of one of the dead, Zarin, his speech patterns, his mocking tone. "I told you Earth wasn't a joke, but you didn't listen." The sound came from a portable speaker hidden inside a broken helmet, half buried in snow meters away from them. The commander spun, weapon raised, armor flaring. But the hunter, already on the edge, broke. "I can't," he shrieked and limped away, stumbling through the trees. The commander screamed, "Stay in formation!" A shot cracked, the fleeing hunter's leg detonated below the knee. He fell screaming, then fell silent as a second shot stilled him forever. The commander was alone. Snow flurried. The wind howled low and cruel. He activated his full-body shield, plasma energy humming across his form. Bright hexagonal plates shimmered in the air around him. His armor bulked, readied. His rifle clicked to rapid fire, and he spun in place, unleashing burst after burst into the trees, the rocks, the sky. He screamed at the storm, "Come out, you coward! Face me!" Above him, the sniper exhaled slowly. Target distance, 438 meters. Shield up. Weak spot, 2 millimeter. Vent gap near left clavicle. Exposed during high-energy fire bursts. Estimated window, 0.6 seconds. He didn't hesitate. He waited for the exact moment the commander raised his weapon again. Plasma charging. Vent opening. Crack. The round entered clean, right through the gap, pierced the energy node, shattered the plasma cell, and burned through flesh on its way out the other side. The commander's legs buckled. He dropped to his knees, gasping, blinking against the storm. The shield flickered, failed. His armor hissed. With leaking coolant and sparking wires, footsteps approached. Crunch, crunch. The commander lifted his head and saw the human, tall, cloaked in snow veil, face half hidden, eyes behind a scope he didn't need anymore. No glory, no speech, just quiet inevitability. The sniper knelt, pulled something from his coat pocket, a single round. He placed it gently on the commander's chest. Etched into its casing were 4 words in neat, brutal script. We hunt back. The commander's gaze blurred. He mouthed something, but his lungs had collapsed. The sniper stood and turned away, vanishing into the white. Weeks later, in a chamber orbiting a neutral star system, the Galactic Council reviewed the leaked footage. Surveillance data captured the aftermath. Dead elite hunters scattered across a mountain range, a wrecked extraction craft, and one particular image that was circulated endlessly. The bullet on the chest, primitive, hand-loaded, still warm when found. They used projectiles, one alien delegate said, voice thin with disbelief. And we never saw him. Another replied almost reverently. 1 soldier, against 9. They didn't even use AI targeting or drones. No planetary defense grid, just one. From that moment forward, Earth was no longer labeled as pre-industrial, no longer a backwater. It was classified red tier, avoid direct engagement. Do not hunt. Across a dozen systems, elite training academies began altering their curriculum. They called it counter-human warfare, and the name whispered between every new recruit, from orbit to jungle planet, was the same. They, Sniper,